Hey guys, welcome back to the kitchen. Today I have an Amish kosher dill recipe that I want to share with everybody. It's fairly simple and you can hot water bath this for 10 minutes. It's easy, so we're going to get started on the prep work. Let me pan you down so you can see what I'm doing. Alright guys, so the first thing that we did was we halved and speared our cucumber. These are actually pickled cucumbers, and let me show you the difference. This is a salad cucumber, much darker, different taste, different texture, and yeah, don't use regular. I mean, you can, but it's going to be a little bit bitter than our normal. These are actually for pickling cucumbers, so you grow them special, and they're only between 4 and I don't know, some of them are 3 to 4 inches. So next thing I'm going to do is we need to peel garlic, because each jar is going to get between 2 and 3 cloves, depending on your taste, guys. If you like a lot of garlic, like a lot of kosher dill does have that garlic flavor, so you're going to want to do at least 3 cloves, and then we're going to cut them in half. So let me get this peeled and then we'll bring you back. Okay guys, after you have your garlic all hauled out, that's where you take the skins off. I use one of these. Is you put the garlic in there, and man, that outer you can see this is an unpeeled piece of garlic and this is peeled. If you don't have one of these, I suggest you get one. It's a garlic peeler. You just roll it, man, and the garlic comes out lickety split with no hull on it. Alright, so then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our knife and we are going to cut our garlic in half. Yep. Cut all the garlic in half. And it don't have to be perfect, guys. This isn't, you know, any etiquette thing. You just cut them flat in half, or lengthwise, or whatever. That's like the fat part. You can cut them when they're standing straight up, or you can lay them flat. I like to lay them flat because you're cutting a wider surface that way. Alright, so I'm going to put like maybe 3, I don't know exactly how many jars of pickles I'm going to get, but I really like garlic, a lot of garlic, and my kosher pickles, I want them to taste like they're real kosher, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so garlic is all cut. So then the next thing we're gonna do, make sure you wash and sterilize your jars. Now, the brine that we're gonna put in these is gonna be very warm, so you want to make sure that your jars are good to go. And then our next thing we're going to do is you get a big bunch of dill like this, and we're going to use a very generous amount for each jar. Don't be afraid to put, if you think you're putting too much garlic or dill, you're probably not. So let me get my scissors, and we're going to, let's drop, let's do 4 garlic halves in each jar to start out with. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take tops and other. You want to take a nice generous amount of dill, and you're just going to shove it right in your jar. If it looks like it's too much, don't worry about it. It's not. Trust me. Because we want it to taste like they're dill pickles. So here's another bunch, and you can even like, so the floured tops is what we really want in these, and you can even spice these up, guys. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to want to lay your jar kind of on the side. Now, some of these pickles may be a little big, so we're going to have to trim a little. It's okay. You can trim. Ain't going to hurt, because we're going to want a little bit of head space in the tops of these. Yeah. So we don't want them to be too terribly big. All right. And you can start out with your smaller ones first, and you're just going to layer these around and pack them. You're going to pack them really good because you want to put as many as you can in a jar. And it's okay if you have to trim, don't worry about it. All right, you can kind of see how I'm packing them in there. It's okay. Now I may only get 3 or 4 jars, and that's okay. Oh, that one's gonna be way too long. Okay. All right, you can see this one is packed pretty good. So we're gonna stop at that, then we're gonna start on our next jar. All right, we're gonna start with our smaller ones first. Put them babies in there. Yep, you want to push them down as far as you can, and then if they still seem too big, that's okay, just trim a little off. Oops. You may have to get some of your dill in that out of the way so that they can reach the bottom. Yeah. All right, put these little guys in there. Pack them as tight as you can and put as many as you can in there. All right, as many spears as you can, because we're gonna go back and we're going to debubble them. All right, so we got 2 jars ready. Let's put some more in there. Some of those are small, so that's okay. All right, and then we're gonna get more dill. Just start shoving it in there. And I got this fresh dill at Myers. It's a whole bunch for like $1 or something. So it's fairly cheap. So don't think that you can't use as much as you want, because you can. All right, and then some of these are too long. I'm gonna start trimming some of those. Make sure you get them all the way down to the bottom. If you have to move your dill out of the way, that's okay. Move it out of the way. It's gonna hurt nothing. If you need to move the dill to the center of the jar and then pack around the dill, you can do that too. We just want to fill as many as we can. And too, if you guys want to use, if you don't like, these are pints. If you don't want to use pints, you can use quarts, wide mouth quarts, and you don't have to worry about the size, because they're a lot taller. They're probably like this tall. So, but for me and Alicia, we like to use the smaller jars because it's just the 2 of us, and we will not be able to eat a whole jar before it, like, you know how pickles go bad. And I don't like that. I don't like it when the pickles start tasting funny in the fridge, you know, after you open it. All right, there's another one. And I'm gonna get another one ready. All right, and let's use 4 or 5 cloves. Get our dill in there. And you can use stems. Use the top, you can use stems. Don't be afraid to use the whole dill plant. You don't have to just use the tops, the flowers. We're gonna use all of it. Need a bunch of it. All right, shove that in there. Hold on 1 second. Okay, we're gonna finish shoving these in there. Get to the bottom here. Yeah, some of these might be a little long, but that's okay. We're gonna trim them off. It ain't gonna hurt anything. I'm trying to get this to the bottom. Yeah, if you need to scoot your dill and that over, don't be afraid to scoot it over so you can get your pickle to the bottom. Cut some of that. All right, it's looking pretty good. Yep, so just put as many as you can in there. And see, my garlic's in the way, so my pickle can't get all the way to the bottom. Let's try to scoot it over. There we go. Now, if you wanted, you could put your garlic and dill in and then lay it on the side to put them in. You can do it that way too. That usually works. All right, I don't think these are going to be too tall. They might be. See that? Oh, it's kind of almost too tall. So we're just going to cut a little piece off because I don't want them to be too tall. Yep, and that's okay. If you have to trim it, trim it. Okay, so there's 4 jars. Let me get, here's 2 more. Okay, garlic. And you can put as much garlic in there as you want. I like a lot of garlic, so to me it doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter. Because I like garlic anyway. You can put as much or as little as you want in there. Put a little in there. Because these are kosher dills, guys, so don't worry about it. Kosher, I really like it. They're Amish and they're so good. And my grandma used to make these all the time. So yummy. Ugh. And you can use stems. Oh gosh, that smells so good. It smells awesome. And we're gonna lay our jar on our side so that we can get some of these other ones in. I'm gonna have to cut quite a bit. These are really tall, these ones. Yeah, just a little bit off the tip. Put some of our littler ones in there. Well, I think we'll have enough to get another whole jar here. Yeah, that's excellent. It's really like a puzzle piece. Try to stuff these in there. All the cracks. Okay, so there's another jar, and then we got 1 more. That'll work. It might be a little light, but it doesn't really matter. Honestly, you can put as much or as little. If you like to space yours out, that's fine too. Another piece of garlic in there. And if you wanted, you could put these little pieces in a jar too. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. You can can it. Oh no, I dropped one. Oh no. Alright, let me rinse this off real quick. Now this jar is not going to be all the way full, and that is okay by me. Don't care. Still going to be good. And I'm going to actually put some of these little pieces in the middle that I cut off. I don't want to waste them. Shove them down in your jar. Be all right. I eat that piece. Okay, so there's another jar. All right, guys. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start our brine. Okay, guys, so the first thing for our brine is we are going to do 1/4 cup pickling salt. Canning and pickling salt. Okay, Morton's, they sell it. Every grocery store has it. Let me get a little bowl just in case. And we're gonna put 2 eighths in there. Alright, so 1/8 makes 1/4. So, ugh, this is like kind of chunky. It doesn't really want to come out. Okay, alright. So there is our 1/4 cup of pickling salt. And I like to keep my salt in the baggie, otherwise it would have been way clumpier and I'd have had to do something else with it. Okay, and then the next thing is 2 3/4 cups of 5% white distilled vinegar. Okay, so we're gonna go in our cup. So we need 2 3/4 cups. Oh, get this open here. All right, 2 3/4 cup. So 1, 2 3/4. Okay, 3/4 cup. And then we need 3 cups of water. All right, this is the 3rd cup of water. I put the others in off camera to save time. Okay, and then you can put peppercorns in your jars as well if you want, but you don't have to. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring this up to boil, and then we'll come back. Okay guys, our brine is boiling and it is time to scoop into our jars. So just take a ladle and a funnel, because you want to kind of guide the water in there, and just put it in there really slow, and you want to fill these until your cucumbers are almost covered. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to get the air bubbles out. Yep, we need to get the air bubbles out, and how we do that is you take a plastic. You cannot use metal. Do not use metal to get the bubbles out. Any kind of plastic, or you could use like the wood bamboo chopsticks. That's usually what I use. Works very well. And I'm hoping I have enough brine for these 6 jars. Oh, I should have. Looks like we will have just enough. So this batch makes 6 jars. Just a little over 6 for sure. And you want to make sure that you kind of pour this in kind of slow, because you don't want to shock your jars, or they could it could crack. And simultaneously what I'm doing is I am filling up my hot water bath canner, and we are getting the bubbles out over here. Oops. Your pickles. Yeah, so your pickles are going to want to come out with all that, or if you want, you can tap it on the counter, but not real hard. And you're just gonna these down to get some of the bubbles out. That works too. But you usually want to use a debubbler. Anything that isn't metal. You don't have to go to the store and buy one that's specifically for canning. A plastic knife does the same thing. Oh, and this one went down significantly. So then we'll just top those back off with water, no biggie, so that they're covered enough. Yep, that's what we'll do. Okay, this one has a little bit of pieces in there, so then we're gonna take our scoop and we're just gonna kind of top them off just a little bit. You kind of want to leave at least half or a 1/4 inch of headspace. If your pickles are taller like mine, it's okay to have them a little bit fuller than you normally would. Let me check my canner out. Okay, so I got my hot water bath canner on the burner, and what I'm going to do next is I am going to wipe the lids off, and I'm going to put, or the rims, I'm going to put my lid and my rings on my jars. That's the next thing I want to do. Alright. And you want to wipe the rims off with your vinegar because it will clean them so that you get a really, really good seal. Alright. We're just going to go around. Hope you guys can see this. We're just going to wipe those rims off, and we're going to take a lid, sit it on there, and we're going to hand tighten that. That's it. Okay? All right. And this part goes really, really fast, so all right. We want to make sure that we get a really good seal on these. So that's why we wipe the rim off really good. All right. Now, Ball came out with directions. They said you don't have to put your lids in hot water anymore. But sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't know. It just kind of depends. Really. Nothing special. And we're gonna put those in. Cleaning off our rims here. You can kind of see, if you see some scum on there, use your fingernail, because it could be from the previous canning lid, because there's a rubber on the back of there, and sometimes it comes off when you can. Okay, so we can put that over in the sink, and I'm going to move the camera closer so you can see what I'm doing. Okay guys, next thing we're going to do is check our water to make sure it's fairly as warm as our jars. We're going to sit our jars in on the rack, because the rack is what keeps the jar and the bottom of the canner from touching. Otherwise, you have a higher potential in cracking your jars if it sits directly on the heat. So we don't want that. And then next, we're going to slowly lower this into the water, because what we want to do is we want to get the jars acclimated to the same temperature as what's in our canner. And sometimes it's kind of hard to do, but we're going to need a little bit more water, so we want to have at least 1 inch covering the top of our jars. Alright, we just pour the water right in the middle where there's no jars. Hot water, of course. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this up on high, and we're going to cook this for 10 minutes. That's it, just 10 minutes. Otherwise, if you cook them too long, then they get mushy. Okay, so let me set the timer on my stove here. Oops. And we'll have to wait till it's supposed to be boiling, so I'm not going to start the timer until it starts boiling, okay? And then we'll come back. Okay guys, so I started the timer because it's starting to bubble, so we know it's just about ready to boil, and I'll come back when it's done. Okay guys, our timer is done. We're shutting the stove off and taking the lid off. And then next we're gonna take these babies out. We don't want to leave them in our canner. And whatever you do, don't tip them. I know it's tempting because there's water on the top of the jars, but it will evaporate off. Do not worry about it. Okay? Yep. Those look good. Look at that. Looks great. Get these out. So the method to the timer. So about the first 5 minutes, you're going to build up the boil, and then the last 10 minutes is your actual boiling part. So it's actually a total of 15 minutes, but your first 5 minutes is really to bring the water up to boil. All right, let me scoot that over and I'll show you what we got. Okay guys, so here's our end product. They look really, really good. And you don't want to eat these till about 2 weeks. So yeah, you have to let it sit and they'll basically marinate into the kosher, and then you can try them. All right guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.